Have you ever watched a movie and felt like there's a hidden story lingering just beneath the surface? For decades, Hollywood operated under strict codes, and any hint of lesbian romance was either cut, coded, or condemned. They cut the scenes, they changed the endings, and they all but deleted entire characters. But art has a way of fighting back. And in this video, I'm going to look into the evolution of lesbian representation on the screen. These are the iconic moments that defied expectations and forever changed the movies. Let's start in 2010 with a film that proved mainstream cinema could still cause a scandal. There was a psychological thriller called Black Swan, a harrowing story about a ballerina's mental collapse. To show just how far she was willing to go for her art, the film included a scene that became one of the most talked about and controversial moments of that year. The scene itself depicts a sexual encounter between Natalie Portman's character Nina and her rival, played by Mila Kunis, and it's framed as a fever dream of sorts, a psychological break that unlocks Nina's dark side. It's not a love story, it's a spectacle. And in the UK, it became the most complained about film, with many viewers describing the scene as pornographic. And the aggravating factor for some was that it was between two women. But the moment was designed to be shocking and to serve the psychological horror of the plot. In doing so, it brought an explicit lesbian encounter to a huge Oscar-winning film, showing that even in the modern era, the depiction of lesbian desire could be framed as both boundary-pushing and also a symptom of dangerous transgression. Now, moving into the 90s, there was an indie film boom reshaping cinema. There was a movie that put lesbians at the heart of a genre that they'd never been allowed to lead. The 1996 neo-noir thriller Bound centres on Corky, an ex-con played by Gina Gershon, who falls for Violet, the girlfriend of a dangerous mobster played by Jennifer Tilly. Instead of them just being tragic victims or side characters, Corky and Violet are the heroes of the story. They are smart, capable, and their desire for each other is the driving force of the entire plot. They hatch a scheme to steal $2 million in mafia money. The film was praised at the time as a rare and realistic portrayal of a lesbian relationship on screen. To ensure authenticity, the directors even hired a sex educator to help choreograph the film's intimate scenes. It was revolutionary for its time. While some initially alleged the film was using lesbianism for shock value, it has since been cemented as a landmark in queer cinema. It wasn't just about showing lesbian characters, it was about giving them control of the narrative, proving that they could be the heroes of a main crime story. Then 3 years later, a teen movie cemented a lesbian kiss as a touchstone of 90s pop culture, Cruel Intentions. The movie told the story about the manipulative games of wealthy New York teenagers. In it, the Machiavellian Catherine, played by Sarah Michelle Gellar, decides to teach the naive Cecile, played by Selma Blair, how to kiss. The scene is set on a sunny day in Central Park, and it became legendary. It was provocative and stylish and obviously unforgettable. It even won Best Kiss at MTV Movie Awards. It was filmed in front of around 250 onlookers, and the moment had an energy of a live performance. Now, unlike a genuine romance, the kiss was a calculated act of corruption within the story, filmed for titillation. But the impact was undeniable. It took a lesbian kiss out of the world of niche art films and instead placed it squarely in the centre of a pop culture zeitgeist. For a generation of young audiences, it became one of the most iconic on-screen kisses of an era. The history of how these moments made it to screen is a story of defiance against a system designed to silence them. If you're finding this video as interesting as I am, please take a moment to subscribe for more stories like this and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next video. While the 90s saw lesbianism become a pop culture spectacle, it also saw a turn towards brutal realism. After years of tragic queer characters whose suffering was often linked to shame, the 1999 film Boys Don't Cry presented a tragedy rooted in real-world violence. The film is a dramatization of the real-life story of Brendan Teena, a young trans man played by Hilary Swank, who searches for love and acceptance in rural Nebraska. It focuses on his romance with a local woman called Lana. The film was a landmark for introducing mainstream audiences to a transgender hero at a time when such characters were almost entirely absent from screens. However, it came at a terrible price because Brandon's story ends in a brutal, real-life hate crime, and for a generation the film became an introductory text to transgender identity. It was a powerful and necessary step forward in visibility, showing the life or death stakes of queer existence. But it also cemented a narrative where being visibly queer, well, it could lead to a devastating and tragic end. Now, after decades of being portrayed as scandalous, tragic, or a spectacle, recent years have seen the rise of films that finally allow lesbian stories to be defined by their emotional authenticity and normalcy. In 2019, Portrait of a Lady on Fire was hailed as an instant classic of queer cinema. Set in the 18th century, it tells the story of a painter who falls in love with the woman whose portrait she's been commissioned to paint. The film is celebrated for its depiction of the female gaze and creating an unforgettable story of love and equality between its two leads. Most importantly, it's a profound love story focused on art, yearning, and connection. In that same year, teen comedy Booksmart took the next step. One of its main characters, Amy, is an out lesbian, and it's treated as a complete non-issue. Her story isn't about the trauma of coming out, she's been out for years. Instead, the film focuses on the relatable, awkward, and funny realities of her crush on female classmates. It's portrayed lesbian life as something contemporary, normal, and just one of those teen experiences. Together, these movies mark a profound shift. They moved representation from shocking moments and cautionary tales to just recognised and celebrated reality. They proved there's a rich market for all kinds of lesbian stories, paving the way for queer filmmakers and characters to follow. The history of lesbian representation in film is a history of fighting for every single frame. From shocking spectacles to genre-bending heroes to pop culture phenomenons and a brutal dose of reality, well, to finally finding an authentic voice. Well, these moments, whether they're intended to be revolutionary or not, pushed boundaries of what was possible and challenged audiences, created icons, and carved out space for stories that would come after. They're a powerful reminder. Even when you're in a system that tries to limit you, art will always find a way to leave a permanent mark. Which of these films surprised you the most? Are there any other groundbreaking scenes that you can think of that should be on the list? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed the video, again, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and until next time, take care. Bye bye.